Hello, this is Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com here with my fifth practice game with Sultai Souls of the Lost. We have our Souls of the Lost, a way to fill a graveyard, some interaction, 2 lands. This is a keep. Let's see what our opponent does. We just punted our way to a defeat. Not that, as a spoiler alert, too late now, huh? Oh man, in the worst possible way. This Ottawa is bringing back his PTSD for me after using it to target my opponent's creature and swing in with the wind. I clicked so quick I hit my creature and proceeded to lose that game and the match. So pretty awesome. But hopefully, having done it once, I will never do it again. Alright, so opponent's doing nothing. Leaves us with do we want to Thought Seize on turn 1, or do we want to hold up Fatal Push? Hold up Fatal Push and Thought Scour, that is. See what we end up drawing. Murktide Regent. I mean, it's possible we wanted to just hold up Thought Scour and see what our opponent's up to. Fill our graveyard. That Murktide Regent was a good draw. Next turn we can have counter magic depending on what it looks like we're playing control. Or domain. 5-color domain is also a possibility. Control. Domain would have cast a creature by now. So we will then. So now we really just want to make our land drops, so that we can cast a creature and hold up counter magic at the same time. Stitcher Supplier, we hit a Murktide, Thought Seize. Okay. Another counter spell. Oh boy. And we need double black for this Stitcher Supplier. I have a feeling they're going to they will counter this. Nope. Alright, so Spring Birch is really good. Narset, Days Undoing. Man, they have some. So what are they going to cast next turn? We can take. Spring Verdict is their best upside. It cannot be countered. The Narset funds a more. Fairy turns off our counter spells. That's a really good hand. And that's a really good hand against what we're trying to do. I imagine they'll do Narset and wait until they can cast that in Days Undoing in a single turn. Supreme Verdict is really good. These counter spells, though. What's our best way of winning here? They'll just return it with the Teferi. Alright, so we're in trouble. that is a lot TLDR, this one. We are in trouble. We do not have the tools to compete. Well, we do, but we need to draw them, and we don't have them in our hand. I should have seen that coming. I didn't even bother looking at their companion. We have counter spells. We have ways to interact with what our opponent's doing, but not currently in our hand, and not with what is in their hand. I mean, they run out. I assume the Narset will come out here. Dig into something. We'll have to hold up counter spell. Hopefully, we'll hit a black source. And then they have the Supreme Verdict to wipe our board. So they have a lot of good answers. There is the island. So that's good. That at least allows us to run out the Stitcher Supplier, hold up counter magic. I don't think they're going to pull the trigger on Days Undoing, knowing that we have 2 blue up and that we surely have counter magic. They may just go for it. They don't see any counter spells in our. I mean, it's so tempting just to run it out, right? Not ideal, but okay. Getting a second blue source here to counter. There's Days Undoing. Maybe they do the Force Negation. They can't do Force Negation. It's their turn. Alright, so we passed that test. Another land would be great so that we could have counter magic and get the Souls of the Lost out and they drew a counter spell. All right. Land. Bobble. So we play the Souls of the Lost, and they proceed to Supreme Verdict, which then sets us up for a Murktide. Let's go ahead and cast this first. We're going to pitch this Fatal Push to Souls of the Lost. See what our opponent's drawing. Hopefully it's okay. Prismatic Ending. That is a good draw for our opponent because it is going to let them target our Souls of the Lost. So we play Souls of the Lost, a Prismatic Ending it, have counter magic up for this Murktide. We need to hit a land. Then they still have Supreme Verdict. We play Murktide, then they can still have the Prismatic Ending. That's just a really good draw for our opponent. And very unfortunate draw for us. We could just hold off until we have counter magic back up for all of it, but man, all right. We're going to wait one more turn, knowing what they're drawing. This is just going to allow them to counterspell the Souls of the Lost, but that's okay. I mean, another useless Fatal Push. Yeah, I mean, we're just having to play around so much. Including whatever they find off of that. I mean, we have the Supreme Verdict to answer this, the counterspell, the counter, whatever we play. Yeah, I mean, it's just, they're in a really good spot right now. Teferi, I mean, we basically have to counter. Do we actually? Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to counter. We're not in a good place right now. The Teferi is a must-answer threat. We have 2 dead cards in our hand. They have answers to both of our threats that are in hand. They're going to get Island Cycle, yeah. So hopefully we're going to draw into something good that isn't a Fatal Push. What is my opponent seen? Okay, there's our land that we could have. They've already seen the Murktide. What a great card. Lets you discard our sacrifice. So if we run out the Murktide, they'll just Supreme Verdict. Either way, they're going to just Prismatic Ending this. And then we'll be left the Murktide, and then they will Supreme Verdict. So yeah, we're just a little too far behind right now. We could fake that. So now they have the counterspell for the Murktide. See what we draw, but we'll probably lose, and it's going to be a slow, painful death that we end up with. So we'll take the Triome in case we draw Tarmogoyf. Force of Negation is good, but not on. We don't have another blue spell, and it'll be our turn, so we don't have the mana. Sigh, sigh, sigh. One ring, and yeah, we'll scoop it up. Alright, we don't have to scoop it up. We can force negation that at least. Alright, we're not dead yet. Not dead yet. Just getting close. Didn't they already play this island? Or no, they did. They did already. I didn't think they'd played that already. Alright, so we can stick a Murktide Regent, but it's just going to get blown up with Supreme Verdict. However, I mean, we got to get through that Supreme Verdict at some point, so I think we just make it a mini Murktide. So we'll go, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8. So I think we go another blue, and we do 4 now and 4 later. So Thoughtseize, Thought Scour. So this will get Supreme Verdict. I'm hoping they miss a land, Supreme Verdict, so we can then we draw another Murktide. That's our best way here, path to victory, I think. Yep. There it goes. So we had to get that out of their hand eventually. The prismatic ending was really good for our opponent. Put another permanent in the graveyard. They did not hit their land for a another blue for this counter spell. So, opponent's upset about that. Let's draw a threat. Souls of the Lost, that counts as a threat. Will it be enough? It's an 8-9. Opponent has lots of ways to answer it. Will they find one? We are empty-handed. We've played around. We've managed to play through all their hate. Did they get another Supreme Verdict? Or is it another prismatic ending? Oh, yep, another. Yeah. I was going to say we played around all their hate. And see if we can draw a threat here. Fluted Delta. Save that for now. This is one reason why I really think the right build for Souls of the Lost includes giving it haste and trample, because we would have hit in for 8 there before it got taken care of. Yep, they're going to get their commander, basically, their companion. We need to draw a threat so that we can bait out this counter spell. Instead, we've drawn some lands. We have 2 Murktides in our 2 Murktides, 2 Souls of the Lost, I think, and 4 Tarmogoyfs. Preordain's really good. This game's, I don't want to really scoop, because you never know, but it's felt over since they hit that prismatic ending off the top, off of when I saw they were drawing the prismatic ending. Okay. So we need to go threat to have a chance. Stitcher Supplier is not a threat. We'll run it out there anyway. Bet you we'll pitch a bunch of threats. Souls of Law. Oh man. Okay, sure. That's cool. That's cool. We're in the free play zone, by the way, and I've noticed a lot of control players are in the free play zone. Not sure why. It's Vigilance even. Good for it. Get there, Elemental Cat. Let's see what hot fire we're milling this time. Oh, Murktide. Oh, we were going to draw into what? Stitcher Supplier? I don't even know. It's hard to tell. All right, now our opponent's cracking. After a little pump fake. Oh, here we go. What do we got? Jace. Greatest of all time. Or are we going to just draw 3 cards? Also pretty good. Preordain, draw 3 cards. Seems good. We draw into a Stitcher Supplier. All right, let's go to game number 2. I mean, just not too few cards, no threats. they have a handful of cards again. Okay, well, we can do Spell Pierces, I suppose. Assassin's Trophy seems pretty good for the Planeswalkers. They're how likely do they have ley lines, do you think? Assassin's Trophy might be good enough. Take out the baubles. Thoughtseize. Oh yeah, we can take out all these fatal pushes. Subtlety is really good against us. So we can bring in our own subtleties. Stern Scolding, target creature spell, power is not that good. Tear Asunder for a little bit of removal might be worthwhile, and just try to play the kill your things. I mean, we're missing so much card draw compared to our opponent that we just are at the mercy of our deck versus them. So we're really, the bauble gives us a little bit of that card draw, but run it like that. Fast Murktide would be good, followed by. Alright, so we have a bunch of ways to pump out a Murktide, but we don't even have a single blue source, so we're going to mulligan. Alright, now we have the 2 Thoughtseizes, which could be really powerful to help fuel out a Murktide. This Triome is really good, so we'll keep it, and we'll put so yeah, I mean, the reason I'm keeping the Triome is because we do need a green source. We could draw into a Tarmogoyf. Our Souls of the Lost is going to be pretty bad for the foreseeable future. Hopefully we'll draw some ways to fill our graveyard. So next turn we can Thoughtseize if we have to. Counterspell, counterspell. And then the opponent kept it really. This is a good card though. We got to keep that in mind. What does this do? Untap target legendary permanent. All right, I'll take the counterspell. I don't even know. Do we even care about that as a taking their next counterspell for what? We could just take that. All right, we'll take the counterspell. I don't know. We could have saved the Thoughtseize there until they drew into something more, because another counterspell, they would have countered on Thoughtseize, which is effectively the same thing. Or they might have let it go and we would have taken something else, but we'll see. Let's see if that's the right play or not. We do want to get to this. Murktide. Souls of the Lost is a boss 1/0, so a Stitcher Supplier would be really good. Tarmogoyf is a 3/4, so that's a little bit better. See, they drew an answer for the old Goyf. We have our 3 threats that make up our deck's threats. We just hoping our opponent draws nothing for the rest of the game and we can get there. And instead they draw a Teferi. Okay. Seems good. Seems good. Bounce our Tarmogoyf? Sure. Still Stitcher Supplier would be our best. Assassin's Trophy we could cast on their Goyf and just ramp them, or on their Teferi and ramp them. That seems bad. Alright. Second verse, same as the first. We can present Spell Pierce. Totally got Spell Pierce, dude. Watch out. So I will say this: my 2 matchups so far today have been not my favorite decks to play against. The token, or the artifact token strategy, and now control. I mean, it's nice not to get scammed, I suppose. They can just discard this and return this to our hand, which is probably what they're going to do. That's what I would do. Unless they really, really want to make a land drop. Yep. So our counter spells are dead until we kill that Teferi. Third verse, same as the first. Here we go again. We're still in combat, so let's finish combat. Try that again. Here we go. Now our opponent probably, I mean, they've just done exactly what they wanted to do. Time walked us 2 turns in a row, making their land drops, finding more answers, finding more threats, maybe about to draw 5 or 3 cards off of this Lorien Revealed to refill their hand. We can't cast instants, so we don't have any way of interacting if they do have a way to keep our Teferi, or keep their Teferi alive. Solitude would be really good for them. We could just go ahead and Assassin's Trophy the Teferi. That at least leaves us with some with counterspell action, because I assume they're gonna cast a Solitude. All right, well, we'll try it again. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong, Mr. 3/4 Tarmogoyf? Get there. Are you finally going to get there? Solitude. Yep, here comes the Solitude. Like I said. So, I mean, we've seen I mean, we saw that coming. So, seeing that coming, we should have gone ahead and Assassin's Trophy the Teferi, and then had counter magic for the Solitude, kept the Tarmogoyf alive, because now we're left with this Assassin's Trophy doing exactly what we were going to do. But instead, we would have had our Tarmogoyf alive. I mean, they might have had a counter spell, though. So, we spent so many resources, so many turns trying to get rid of that Teferi. Holy cow. So that could have been a misplay. Obviously, we don't know what's in their hand, right? So if I had Assassin's Trophy their Teferi, they could have counterspelled it. And then I guess we could have gotten in for the attack to kill their Teferi with Tarmogoyf. I'm not sure. I'd have to think it through a little bit more if that was the right line or not. This turns back. So if we had Assassin's Trophy the Teferi, big Teferi, or just draw some cards. So they really want to draw cards. We're going to go ahead and try to counter this, and hopefully draw a bait out, either a counterspell or clear the way for one of our 2 threats to stick. The last card's a counterspell, and they get to draw 3 cards, and then we have Coast is Clear for if we draw a land. Now we have enough for the Murktide and the Souls of the Lost. Neither one of them are going to be particularly big. Oh, the Spell Pierce, that's good, but they have so much mana, I don't know if it matters anymore. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now our Murktide's big, but our Souls of the Lost is going to be a 0/1. So I think we're going to just hold up the spell pierce and hope to snag something. I mean, they have so much mana, I don't think we will, but you never know. The One Ring. We need to fill our graveyard again, and we're not going to get much more value out of the spell pierce other than maybe slowing them down right now. At least getting an attack in with this Murktide. Yeah. So back to that play. Assassin's Trophy, we could have hit the Teferi, they would have countered it. They would not have had the mana to do Solitude, so we would have killed the Teferi and kept our Tarmogoyf. So I think that probably was the better play since I sniffed out the Solitude. They may have had a white card to pitch, but even then, that's at least putting them down a card. The last card was a counterspell, so they would not have been able to. So they would have lost the Teferi. We would have had a Tarmogoyf. Ooh, they're just going to... Nice. Nice little combo wombo. First time I've seen that. Makes sense why this is in the deck now. Digging for a Solitude. The saddest souls of the lost on the planet right now. They're definitely feeling very lost. Tear Asunder. Okay, well, that is something. Oh, well, we can't even get in with the attack because of the One Ring. It's possible that our opponent has Force of Negation, but it's more possible that they have a counterspell, so if we wait till their turn and they untap, they'll just play a counterspell. They'll just counter that. So at least this way we get rid of the One Ring and hope they don't have any answers, but their deck is full of answers. That's essentially all their deck is. So I imagine this Murktide is not long for the world. Yep. And we'll scoop it up. I mean, it's an early scoop, but I honestly hate playing against control, especially when we're so far behind on board. We're up to 22. They're going to be hitting us for 6 a turn. They have a handful of cards. We're drawing dead. We don't even have, we'll see what we draw. We have a really unimpressive Souls of the Lost. So yeah, they're too far ahead on resources. We need multiple draws to even have a chance. We don't have a single silver bullet draw. They're still at 20. So life is not good for the old Sultai Souls of the Lost deck. Murktide, again, we can't even cast it. And if we did, they would just counter it, bounce it, blow it up. So yeah, if I was one game in, if this was game 2, obviously I don't even know. Either way, I'm gonna scoop it up. This is Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. This has been another edition of Keeping Modern Janky. I'm Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com. Check out my website where you can read articles on my commander decks, my various modern brews, and my science fiction and fantasy novel that I'm publishing serially every month. CyclesGaming.com. Be sure to click that like button and subscribe button on YouTube, and I'll see you on the next one. This has been another edition of Keeping Modern Tanky. I'm Tony Cycles with cyclesgaming.com. Check out my website where you can read articles on my commander decks, my various modern brews, and my science fiction fantasy novel that I'm publishing serially every month. cyclesgaming.com. Be sure to click that like button and subscribe button on YouTube, and I'll see you on the next one.